Hey, welcome everybody. I hope you all have had an amazing week. Welcome to Tony Taylor Inspires the podcast. I am really excited because my guest today, Rich Cardona. Oh my God, he is amazing. I've been watching him and kind of looking at some of his posts and getting ideas as far as media content is concerned, and this dude is on fire. So I am going to bring in none other than the man himself, Rich Cardona. How are you doing, man?
Tony, I am very well, man. I'm having a fantastic day. I love to stack Fridays, and this is part of the fun part. So here to help and serve you and serve your audience, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. One of the things that I saw about you in some of the content that you make is that it is authentic and from the heart. And I'm just like, man, there's something about this guy that I just absolutely love. And I started kind of digging in your profile a little bit, and I saw that you are a retired veteran.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. We're
in the
we're
Marine
Marine
Corps.
we're Marine brothers.
Yeah. Hoorah, man. This is awesome. I think you're the first military service member that I've had on the show, and
Okay.
and it's amazing, man. I'm really ecstatic to have you on, and a lot of people already know this about my podcast. I was sharing this with you. I didn't necessarily want to do it at first. It was one of those things where I was just like, man, I don't have time for a podcast, and the whole thing is you make time for the things that you care about, and the thing that I care about is the people, and that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I care about the people, and I feel like the people. I say the people like we're like some government office or something, but one thing I care about is having people to look up to and being inspired by people, throughout their journey, and not just, looking at them and engaging them by their destination, right? By where they're at, but by their journey. Can you tell me a little bit about your journey or
Yeah,
us?
absolutely. And I'm with you on trying to inspire the people. I'm with you 100%. So here's the brief, concise history, so to speak. I was a bad kid in high school. Bad for sure. I think I got arrested 2 days before my high school graduation. No, I think it was the day before, for underage drinking and all this crazy nonsense. And I literally was on the way to the police station, and the guy had this sticker on his. I've never told this. He's got a bumper sticker on his dashboard, and it said Semper
This
Fi.
is an
And I had,
exclusive.
yeah, and it said Semper Fi, and I was like, sir, I'm supposed to go to the Marine Corps. He's like, what? And he's just like, you're supposed to do what? He's like, not like this, and blah blah blah. And then, we get there, and then, I'm able to kind of work something out. My aunt's in town, like a whole ton of families in town because of the graduation. So my aunt came and got me out. So long story short, I wasn't ready to go to college or any of that. I went to the Marine Corps. I was like, I'm going to do 4 years. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get money for college, and then I'll be disciplined and blah, 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 blah. Well, 9/11 happened on year 3. We happened to be out on the 31st MU out in Okinawa. So we were out in Okinawa. 9/11 happened, and then we were on a boat 2 days later, and I was reenlisting not long after that. So it became a career. And then after I retired, I went to work a couple jobs, and then one is a very big name, and I didn't enjoy it at all. I spent 2 years there, and that was 2 years too long, until I just decided. I came across this guy. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk, and I was like, who the heck is this dude? I was watching him on the weekend.
Yeah.
What the heck? And then I was like so turned off. And then I was like, wait a second. And then little by little, things started shifting in my mind. And I just realized, like, what am I doing with my life? I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good husband. I wasn't doing anything except making money. And everything has shifted after that. I quit the job, moved in with my wife's parents for, 6 months, and then started a business during that time. And then now it's been about 2 years since then. And then I also have a podcast like you, but everything has changed. Everything has changed. And the entire, I'm not like a super religious dude, and that's kind of funny to say on Good Friday, but
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. But the there's that quote, like, there's the two most important days are, when you're born, and then when you find out why you're here. And like, I now know why I'm here, man. Like, it's just like to be able to try and do what you do, which is inspire people to grab hold and take control of their lives, and stop looking around at all the situations and all the scenarios and all the, glass ceilings and barriers that are in our way. Like, it's not real, man. It's not real. So that's the thing, man. Like, I am here to try and help people realize that whatever stage it is you are in your life, or if you're a veteran, Act 2 is about you. Like, take control, and you got this, and explore what it is you want to do so you can be happy and fulfilled.
That's good, man. It's funny that you say that. I think we speak the same language, because that was one of the things that I always ask everybody is what is your purpose? And I love the way that you define that. Your purpose. It sounds like your purpose is to inspire. And I think that is amazing. So listening to what you were telling me about, your interaction with Gary Vee, and I subscribe to Gary Vee, and I think a lot of people, they have that reaction to where they're like, who is this asshole?
100%.
Yeah, because at first I heard him, and I think it was like, I don't know if it was my son that told me about him, but he's just like, you got to see this guy, and I listened to him, and I was just like, no, he's a shithead. No, I'm good. But then I started listening to him, and I'm like, man, he is his authentic self, but he is very humble, and he is very, very kind. And I think that's interesting that we kind of had that same journey down the path of, discovering, his brilliance, because he is a brilliant human being. And I love his content just like I love your content. So it's funny that he's your mentor, correct?
Yeah. I mean, he's an informal mentor. I mean, I've had him on the show a couple times. I've been able to meet with him a couple times, and then June 7th we're doing another one. So, but yes, like, everything changed since then. So I would consider, and that's just really interesting. I need to make this point that that's the other thing about social media. As much as some people can hate it for all the drawbacks and detriments there are that are involved with it, like, what happens when you find that person, like, whose message is out there, which is why I do what I do, by the way. But like, what happens when you find that person and you're like that's like, it's like they're speaking to me. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're on a different path, and you've literally maybe never will meet the person in your life, but they could change your life forever. Yeah, I mean, it's everything. I would attribute 90% of everything that's transpired to him, and just kind of shifting my mindset, and the rest is just all the hard work I put in.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's the power of mentorship. I've always been one of those people that I believe in mentorship, but I really didn't know what it was, especially, with being in the Marine Corps. You'll have your staff sergeant, you'll have your lieutenant, and they are your mentors, right? And everything that is about you, and everything that is your life. And it wasn't until recently where, I got my first mentor, and a lot like yours. He is this, high profile, humble guy, won Emmys and all of that. And like you said, it changed my life. And it just let me know that, what, this journey that I'm on, it is possible, right? Because not only because I'm connected with greatness, it's because I'm great myself. Like I'm great myself, and that's bringing us in. So mentorship. Have you always had, good mentors kind of coming up in the Marine Corps, or just like in life?
Yeah, this is a great question, because when I was in the Marine Corps, I was beyond impressed with some of the people above me and around me. Like, so I was prior enlisted, and then, I became an officer. But like in the ready room, I always use the example of a ready room. There's a ton of pilots in there, and the talent level is just insane. I mean, everyone had their different things, but there was always that major, that lieutenant colonel, that colonel, whoever, that you're just floored by their aptitude, or by their fitness, or by their humor, or by their discipline, whatever it is. And I was just like, when you're in it, you don't think about it so much. You're like, this is how it is in here. But when you get out, that's when you're like, what the hell just happened? Because for me, I was seeking out a continuation of that kind of mentorship. And that's why I had such a hard time at those couple of years, because I was like, who am I supposed to look up to right now? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I have no one. There's no one. I'm telling you, there was no one. I was like, that's the guy, or that's the gal. Nobody. So that's why it was kind of refreshing. So, I did have it for a long time, but then that drought was like paralyzing for me. And it was the first time I kind of felt like I was like on my own. And one thing you said that's so important, man, is how you said, you kind of owned it. You're like, I am great. Like, that's what a real mentor does. They don't make you great, right? Like, they help you kind of just like unpackage your greatness. And I love that, man. So that's exactly, I feel and resonate with that hard.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that. And that was one thing about you was, when I first found out about you, it was one of those things I was like, man, I like this dude, man. This dude's the shit. I love his content, man. I can feel it. I love, the visuals. I love what you're saying. The fact that, you show your kids on on social media. I do the same thing. Yeah. Some of my friends come at me for doing it, but that was what I loved about you. But then I was just like, oh, his mentor is Gary V. So I already seen your greatness, but then I'm just like, okay, that's greatness affixed to greatness. And that is amazing. What about your journey? Like this point that you're at right now. I would say, you're highly visible as well. And I'm pretty sure that you get a lot of people in your DMs, and oh, it must be easy for you. You're amazing. This and that. But what is that one thing that you're just like? Because I think we all have it sometime where you're just like, damn, bro, you have no fucking idea the shit
man,
that I
didn't
have
even
to go through to get here, right?
I didn't know this was. I didn't know
person, right?
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad. I didn't know this wasn't G-rated. Now I know I could just talk.
No, we're good. My mom might hate it, but we're good, bro. We're good.
Okay, perfect. Well, here, so this is what I'll say, man. People do know that it's hard, but I also think people judge. I think we all judge people by all the successes they show. So I make it a point to make sure I highlight failures a lot, right? Because it's documenting the journey, right? So it's like, I never am trying to be like, it's all gravy, but I also try and document all the things. So when I put my head down, my wife and I were like, we got to work on our finances. 3 months later, we're debt free. I mean, we paid off a shit ton of money in that time. Yeah. And we were just going over our finances last night. It's like, wow, we're sitting on a good bunch of cash. Like I could actually take less of a paycheck from work, which that's not the goal, but I'm just saying, I know we need to deploy that money for resources in the company. We're always reinvesting into the company, but I need a hire. So I'll take less so I could get someone to get on the phone or get on some emails and do some sales. I will stop watching cable. I haven't watched a full fucking basketball game in 2 years, dude.
Yeah.
And I love basketball.
And we are brothers. Yeah.
Dude. And I went and watched the Super Bowl at my father's house because I don't even have cable. I'm lucky they moved here. So I went and watched the Super Bowl at his house. I get up at 4 a.m. and I put it on Instagram. Dude, the thing is this. Here's the thing. Like there's no set hours. And when you want to win and when kind of like the veil is lifted and you're like, I've been messing around this long. Yeah, everything changes because then you just can't get enough. I'm sitting on these books right here. I never read ever. And ever, man, like I think I've finished 2 books cover to cover my entire life. Now I'm reading. I spent like, I don't know, $100-something on books on Amazon, and I'm going through these books like crazy all of a sudden. Like I'm ingesting. My mind and everything about me is ready to receive, because I'm trying to give out so much out there that like things are just kind of happening. It's very karmic, you know. And at the same time, I'll stop here. But
no, keep going, brother.
At the same, the thing is, I'm always ready for the shit to hit the fan. Not as in like, you know, I got money saved or I got the option B or anything like that. There's none of that. What it is I will be ready here to just be like, okay, like what do we got to do? It's like the friction is good, right? Like that unpredictability, the instability of entrepreneurship it's so not sexy to a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's sexy to kind of be on the edge like that, but I'm saying it sharpens me like crazy, which is the same reason when I was in Afghanistan, that was like the best I ever flew ever. It was crazy. So, you know, cause the heat was on. So I just discovered a lot about myself ever since I made that decision to be like, corporate, you and I don't mix. And that was it.
I think, me and you, I think where our lives go parallel is you say you joined, what year did you join?
98.
Okay. Yeah. So you are in a sense, you know, my big brother, right? If we're talking about the Marine Corps, I joined in 2001. I was actually in the Marine Corps, you know, on 9/11.
Yeah.
And I went through, you know, that journey of, you know, being a mentee, being a mentor, getting out and doing the same thing, but then wanting to climb the corporate ladder, right? Because when we're in the military, that's what we do. It's always about, I don't care what nobody says, when you're in the military, it is always about that next promotion. Either you're grooming somebody to be promoted or you're being groomed to be promoted. And I remember leaving the military and just not having that or not seeing that. I remember just being just like kicked, like getting the living shit kicked out of me. And then in order for me to climb the corporate ladder, I'm freaking kicking the living shit out of people, right? Not literally kicking them, but just not helping because I'm trying to figure out, you know, where the hell what am I doing? And then I realized, wait, we don't play the same. This is not the same game. I am not in Kansas anymore, right? And then I decided, you know, I think I got to a point where I think I was like probably the number 3 or number 4 in the company, and I'm just like, this is bullshit. I'm good. And then I left, and I think I'm behind you as far as like on this journey, because it sounds like you've realized that way before I did. And just like you know, I got this, you know, these books, right? These books that I'm studying, like all of these different books. And I never was a reader, just like you, but now I'm listening to audiobooks. I'm listening to freaking, you know, people talk about the things that we're talking about, leadership and mentorship, people that were around in the 20s and 30s. And it's just, it's so, it fills me up. And that's why I was, when you were talking, I'm just like, go ahead, because you're preaching to my soul right now in this like self-actualization that, you know, all the other stuff is bullshit. We're here, you know, to serve the people. And that's what I was going to ask you right now. Somebody said interesting conversation with valuable insights. That's cool. I appreciate it. I'm learning a lot, and it looks like we have quite a few people on LinkedIn and on Facebook checking us out.
Great.
But good thing LinkedIn finally decided to give me a freaking live. I've been begging, freaking complaining about it for quite some time. But what I was going to ask you is how do you serve the people, you and, you know, your media company? How do you feel like you're doing that? By, you know, how are you inspiring and serving, you know, the people?
So I believe it's really funny. When I left when I left corporate and I started thinking about all the people I knew in my network, because I always felt like I was a pretty good networker, but I realized that some of these people, and now you got to remember, at this point, I had already been exposed to Gary Vee. At this point, I'm like, why aren't some of these people I know like making content? Like, these are some really amazing people. Why are they not on wherever, LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever? So I decided to start asking my network, some of the CEOs I knew or C-suite executives I knew, like if I could do something for them, if I could film for them. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I had, dude, I mean, I no clue. I knew what I wanted to do, which was to help them. The intent was good. So got a couple people like that, started making some videos, taught myself enough. I mean, a little bit, but enough. And then I started getting some paid gigs here and there, like small stuff, man. Like people would laugh. People would laugh if they knew that I did an entire promo and spent all these hours at this one place for like $200. Like nothing. And I took a train to go up there. I had to stay at a hotel. The Airbnb I had to stay in New York cost more than what I was getting, but I didn't care because I was like, this is going to work itself out. So little by little, people started referring me, and then clients got bigger and bigger. And then I just started going ham. And then I'm like, all right, I started getting the help that I needed. But here's the thing. My intent then is the same as my intent is now, which is to give voices to the people who are behind the scenes and actually have a lot of value to bring people. All of us in some way are unique and we have value to bring others in this world, which is why right when we were kind of warming up a little bit, like the same thing, man, like maybe you thought to yourself, you didn't want to do a podcast or who knows what, but we all have something that someone needs to hear. And I refuse to believe it otherwise, because even if it's negative, there's negative Nancy's out there who will eat that stuff up, right? There's positive, but that's the thing. There's way too many people with all of us want to just get educated. We all want to know how to. We want to be smarter. We want to just understand more and more as time goes on. At least I feel that way. So I help people do that. I help create content for people, and I do it so they save a shit ton of time and they can have content any platform they want, or I could help them start a podcast like this or mine or whatever, and then just go. And then because you and I already know how powerful it is once you get to that point, like and look, I don't care who says anything about this. It's not about the ROI. Like everyone is like, oh, the investment. So I need to make sure I get this many leads or this much money out of it or blah, blah, blah. This is not paid advertising. This is building your brand and unwrapping yourself and just doing it over and over to the point where you get comfortable. Because I guarantee you this, if you saw me a couple years ago, and saw some of my content, then you'd be like, well, all right. Like I guarantee you'd probably be able to pass that up pretty easily. And now it's just a little bit more refined and I have more experience and I have more knowledge to share. And every piece of content that you share is of value to someone. I believe that. That's why I do this, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad that you said that, because when I first started making my content, I went through a couple of different phases. I worked in safety. And so I would show like the most inspiring like clips. I would show uninspiring clips. I would show accidents, right? Accidents like in hopes, because I worked in construction, and I would show accidents with the hope that people would see it and say, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm not going to do that. But it was very uninspiring. And the comments that I would get from people like in my DMs would be like, man, I can't believe that, you showed that. I had a parent or somebody lose their life during that. And then that didn't really change me. I'm like, well, the people need to see it. This is what the people need. Right. And that's the kind of person that I was in that moment. But I'm giving them what I think that they need to have. And then I started listening and looking and actually going into, my DMs and saying, oh man, this person, they're needing this in their life. They're needing that in their life. And then that's when my content kind of shifted to where I'm just honestly, dude, I'll like think of a subject and I'll just say, oh man, this person, they just experienced a loss at work. What can I say to motivate them? And I'll just talk to them, and then I'll look up. And, one of my videos, I'm like, damn, I can't believe close to 1 million people saw that video and it hit them hard. And I'm just like, damn, I'm so glad that I started going and doing it. When I started doing it, instead of just saying, okay, my content isn't that good. My writing isn't that good. I misspell words. Maybe I say, or say, you know what I mean? I'm glad
Yeah.
that I did it. What can you say to motivate that person, right? To motivate that person. I know this is your stuff. Like, what can you say to motivate that person that is sitting on a shit ton of knowledge, but for whatever reason they're scared to make content because it's not perfect or they feel inadequate?
Who do you think isn't listening? Just imagine everybody isn't listening, and maybe that's actually gonna help you. And let me explain. When people make content, on the other side of the lens, they think like it is a stadium packed full of people to hear your shit. Well, it's not like that. You actually build it. You build it by doing it over and over and over and over. So you can't think about doing it for them before you start doing it for you. Okay. You want to be razor sharp by the time that stadium is packed, or a stadium full of people collectively on social media are watching what you're putting down. So the point is this, it is to serve, right? But you have to get your reps in, like, period. Like, come on. Like, January was 3 months ago or 4 months ago. It's like, I've never had a 6-pack in my life ever. And I'm like, all right, maybe this is the year, right? Maybe this is